Bueno, viene Jonny desde Londres, como poníamos en el evento, así que nada, ha tenido unos problemillas en el aeropuerto. Así que nada, por favor, vamos a darle un fuerte aplauso a Jonny.
Hello. Better. Okay. Hola. That's the end of my Spanish. No, I can say dos cervezas. In all seriousness, does anyone not have good English? Okay, everyone's good. Great. That means better than any other language other than English for me. Okay, so I'm Jonny from Deliveroo. Deliveroo is in Madrid, I just checked, and you've got a really interesting selection of food that you could order to Google Campus. But we are a food delivery company with an emphasis on food. Has anyone used Deliveroo before? Excellent. How do you feel about it? You can be rude. I want to hear it. Has anyone ridden for Deliveroo before, done deliveries? No, that's always a stretch. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how Deliveroo works. You've had loads of good advice so far today. So I'm going to be kind of light on the UX advice, but take you on a bit of a journey. And then we're going to do a bit of a workshop, and you guys are going to make some new friends. Okay? You look pumped about that. Exciting. So, yes, Deliveroo is a food delivery company. The way it works is, as you probably know, in fact, a lot of you know, your favorite restaurant or your local restaurant, high-quality restaurants, don't usually do delivery. 4 or 5 years ago, there was no way you could get delivery from Nando's, for example, or Wagamama. I don't know if Wagamama is here, but okay. Pizza Express? Okay. But you can get delivery from them. So a chap, I'm just going to, some nice food. This guy, Will, is our CEO, and he moved over from the United States to London, and if you've ever been to New York, you can get delivery for everything. It's actually cheaper to get food delivered than to make your own food, so no one has a kitchen. It's a weird place, New York. But he moved from New York to London and realized that he couldn't do the same thing. So at the time, he was in finance, but he quit and started a company, Deliveroo. It wasn't originally called, it was called Food Pony for a while, but we don't want to talk about that. With trying to solve his own problem, which was, I want actually good food. I don't want the kind of cheap food and the food that you don't know where it's from or how it's been made. I want food that I've eaten before in a restaurant. I want to get that to the office or to home. So 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago, he did the first ever delivery on this scooter. And 4 years, a lot has happened in 4 years. We're now in 12 countries, including, obviously, Spain. Everywhere from Australia, Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong, through to a bunch of countries in Europe. Lots of cities, 140 cities is the last that I heard. It's increasing all the time. We also have thousands of riders, thousands of restaurants, so it's kind of a big operation. It's kind of a big operation when you think about it when you're using your app, but actually, like all good products, a lot of the complexity is hidden. So it's actually even more complicated, and hopefully I'll illustrate that in the coming minutes. So my job is I lead the design of the consumer products. So there's something like 15, 16 different product teams at Deliveroo. We have a whole product and engineering team, currently just under 200 people, growing fast. So it's a fairly big operation. The teams that I look after are the consumer teams, so your app, your iOS app, Android app, or if you order on the web. there's 5 or 6 teams that look after that. So there's teams that care about conversion and like the core customer experience, and there's teams that care about once you've ordered, what happens then, and how do you feel okay about that, and how do we make sure that if something goes wrong, then you can help out. And then there's teams that care about growth. I'm going to take you through a little bit. I don't know if you know this reference, best film ever. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I'm going to take you through the journey of how kind of Deliveroo works as you might expect it to work. This may not be that surprising, definitely if you've used Deliveroo, but this broadly is kind of the journey from I'm angry and I've had a long day and I don't want to even think about opening the cupboard or the fridge and a pan and doing washing up. I just want food in my tummy as quickly as possible. Fuck off. Like, there's a lot of that, to, everything is right with the world, and now I'm just going to sit and watch Netflix. I mean, there may be some Netflix during this time as well. I can't control for everything. So, you open up your app. You see what's around you. You scroll through quite a lot of restaurants sometimes, or sometimes not very many restaurants at all. So the first challenge immediately presents itself. How do we get enough selection to you, and how do we make that list of restaurants easy enough for you to read so that even though the thing that you want is completely different to the thing that you even wanted 3 hours ago or someone else wants right next to you, we can give you the exact experience that you want. We can put that restaurant in the right place so that you tap it and you carry on with your journey. So there's a lot that goes into that. Restaurants have to sign up. They have to get on board. They have to turn themselves on. Then they have to be able to make your food. We have to put their menu on our site. Selection. Then we're into menus and how do menus work. And if I want Nando's chicken meal, there's lots of different options. If you go into Nando's, you have to choose about 10 different things. So how do we make that as easy as possible? Remember, you're angry this whole time. You're angry, you're hungry, you've had a terrible day. So we do not want to mess you around at this point. This needs to feel easy and exciting. You need to be able to imagine your Nando's in front of you and believe that this is going to be the next thing that happens to you and how excited you are about that. So then we tell you how long it's going to take. That's hard as well. We have, and by the way, this is different in every city, and I'll get onto that in a minute, but we have riders. They are kind of positioned all around the city. They can turn up to a shift whenever they want or turn on their app whenever they want. It's kind of difficult to predict who's going to be around at what time. We can kind of say this time's going to be busy, so you should sign up at this time and turn your app on and go and do deliveries. But you can't guarantee it. They can do what they want. They're contractors, so they can do what they want. And they can be working for someone else. So how do we know how long it's going to take for the restaurant to prepare that exact meal for you, which might be a pizza, which is 5 minutes, or it might be something much more complex? How do we know how long that takes? And then we need to work out how long the rider needs to take to get to the restaurant to be at the exact time so the food's still hot when they pick it up. And then how long does it take them to get to you? And that's easier in some cities than others. There's a lot of one-way streets in Madrid. So, okay, so we've given you a delivery time. Fingers crossed, that's roughly accurate. And then you check out. Fairly standard, check out, e-commerce. If you've built e-commerce before, there's best practices. Do it right. It's a form. No one wants to hang around. Make it easy. Okay, then we get to cooking. So what happened when you hit checkout is that order pinged to the restaurant. The restaurant then have to accept the order. So actually, straight after you've checked out, you're not guaranteed to get the food yet until the restaurant has agreed to make the food for you. And they have 5 minutes to do that, to agree. Once they've agreed, then they'll prepare it for a certain time. It's possible that they've run out of ingredients. It's possible that they're about to close. It's possible that someone just kind of messed up their end and lost the receipt. So there's all those kind of things that happen at that point. And then simultaneously, we're working out which rider to get to the restaurant for the right time based on the time that the restaurant said that they would prepare the food for. We have a big algorithm that we call Frank, and Frank works out where riders should be and which rider should be assigned to which order. And he changes his mind all the time. He can assign one rider and then change his mind when he works out that another rider has actually finished a bit earlier on their previous order or has just turned their app on. Actually, that's a much better way of doing it. He's doing this all the time. Millions of computations. And that's kind of at the core of Deliveroo, is that's the thing that we're building, which just works out. And there's other companies that do kind of logistics, like Uber, obviously a very good example, that are doing this as well. Working out in the real world what happens on streets and what conversations have to happen in a restaurant and all these interactions that people have to have with each other so that I can get my Nando's in 28 minutes. This is about 28 minutes, maybe 30, maybe an hour. So, your rider's now on his way. We probably want to tell you about that. So then, GPS stuff. We want to track the rider. We want to work out where he is. We want to be able to give you the right information, but maybe not all the information, because what if the rider is going around in circles or has stopped for a cigarette? So we want to give you enough information to make you feel calm and let you know that actually everything's okay, but not so much information that you're going to start calling customer support or getting stressed out or going. And a lot of people, they call, they live chat, and they also email at the same time. So that's 3 different people trying to solve the same problem. It's the same problem. They don't really know about each other. So then, as you can imagine, things escalate quite quickly. So then we get onto feedback and support. How do we make it as easy as possible for you to do the things that we know it's easy for you to do? So for example, changing your address or getting compensation if an order's gone wrong. We want to make that as easy as possible for you to do so that our agents that are sitting there hoping to fix the really bad orders can spend their time doing that and not their time doing clicking and clicking and clicking on things that they actually can be automated away. There's teams working on that. And then finally, your order arrives. And all is right with the world, as long as the packaging's good, and as long as the food's hot, and as long as all the items are there, as long as it's from the right restaurant, that happens. So there's a lot of things going on as part of the experience. Orders come in, and that's kind of the consumer side. Very reductive way of saying it, but that's kind of a lot of what I care about. And then orders go out. And there's a big part of our engineering and design team thinks about that as well. So hopefully, people do it all again, if it's good. If it's bad, they don't. And that is bad for us, obviously. Then they wander off to Uber Eats. Boo. Okay, so we've gone through that process for one order. Will's first order, that had to happen. All of those things had to happen. Someone had to open the app, choose their food. We had to give them a delivery time. Then Will probably called up the restaurant and said, "Can you make this food and I'll be there in 10 minutes?" And then he cycled off or went off on his scooter, then delivered the food to someone in Kensington. When you start doing it for, this is where my keynote animations go a bit awry. Oh, that worked. Okay. When you start doing it for 10 orders at the same time, or 50 orders at the same time, I don't think that's 50. Don't count. How about when you're doing it for 1,000 orders at the same time? There's a lot that goes into that, and there's a lot that goes wrong. So our 4-year journey has been one of very quickly realizing that a lot of people want this, and then catching up with ourselves, with our growth. So a lot of the work has been actually fixing basic stuff that you only realize when you hit a certain point of scale. Fun problems. And we rolled out a rebrand, which was entirely stressful, and I will never do again. So there's three people that we care about. There's 3 stakeholders or archetypes or users that we really care about. So the first one is the consumer. That's you guys. You want a product that you love, that you come back to, that you build a journey through, you build a relationship with us. It's not just this transactional thing where you're like, here's my Nando's button. You're enjoying using Deliveroo and you recommend that to your friends over something that might be doing a similar job. So how do we make that happen? Second one, riders. I don't know how much you guys read the BBC or the British news, but gig economy workers are in between a rock and a hard place in that they want the benefits of being full-time, but they want the flexibility of being able to contract and work whenever they want. We're trying to work that out with them. That's very challenging and may involve trying to change the law in the UK to make it easier for us and them to work together to do. But fundamentally, what a rider wants is they want to be able to turn their app on, go out, do some deliveries, come back, beer money, or if it's their full-time job, enough money to survive, to feed their family, or to support going to university, or they might only want to work in the evenings because they're doing another job in the day, or they might only want to work in the day because they're working in a bar at night, for example. We want to give them that flexibility, make it easy as possible for them to quickly earn money. Join, sign up, earn money, have a nice time, wear cool outfits if they want to, they don't have to, etc. So the technology that goes into that is also really challenging. How do you incentivize riders to make them want to take the shifts that you need them to do because you're really busy, but when it's raining, they don't turn up. So how do you make them go out in the rain? Because also when it's raining, that's when most people order. They're the kind of problems that our rider teams are thinking about. And how do you make sure they get paid instantly? Really hard problem. And how do you make it easy for them to sign up so they can walk in, sign up, and be riding within 2 hours? Also really hard. And finally, restaurants. Imagine you're running a busy restaurant and you've got people through the door, you're fully booked, every table's got people sitting at it, and then Deliveroo riders keep coming in. And your kitchen's rammed because you're a popular restaurant, you're a great restaurant. And you've got people that come in and eat, and also another whole set of people. For some, this is kind of incremental orders. For others, this is 50% of the orders they do. So how do you make sure that the in-house experience is good for those people sitting and eating food in your restaurant? They're not being like barged by some Deliveroo rider wandering in and shouting, still wearing his helmet. But also make sure that they're as efficient as possible in making the food for Deliveroo. That means what hardware and software do they need to be able to know what the order is, put it into their point of sale system, put it into their kitchen, understand when they're going to cook it, have it ready exactly the right time so there aren't riders hanging around waiting, and then get the riders on their way and make sure that the packaging is good and the food is hot or cold. Sushi. And bear in mind, Nando's works in a very different way to an independent one-off restaurant. Nando's will have multiple tiers of hierarchy. People sit in head office and look at 500 restaurants at a time, and they want to know whether they're being efficient. But at the same time, some guy who's the chef and the front of house and the owner and is on Deliveroo also needs to know that. He might need to know it in his pocket, whereas they might want something that's desktop and easy to share. So, as you can imagine, there's a lot of design, UX. At Deliveroo, we don't have UX designers. Everyone's a product designer. Some people are more into UX, and some people are more kind of UI focused, but everyone is a product designer. And design's all about teamwork for us, and I think actually broadly. Oh, so that's my one slide, which is like advice. So you can't do design on your own. You have to talk to people, whether it's other designers. If you're in the luxury of having other designers around that you can bounce ideas off, that's great. If you have researchers that you can bounce ideas off or learn from, if you have data, you need to be able to trust the data. It's very easy to do the wrong thing based on the wrong data, but if you have the data, then you can lean on that and the people that know about that. If you can speak to users, obviously, they are part of the team. Bring them in. Make them believe in the improvements that you want to make. What's interesting about Deliveroo is sometimes people feel like we're exploiting them. So they don't really want to talk to us necessarily. And we're really not. It's not our aim to exploit people. It really isn't. But sometimes it makes it hard to have just a normal conversation without people feeling like there might be an agenda. So working around that, working out how to speak to people where they can give you their honest opinion and not just flatter your new design. So it's all about teamwork. Our design team is, including researchers and content, about 30 at the moment. About half of that is in consumer. So we're lucky in that we can kind of get together and all talk about each other's work and make sure that it's better. It comes with other challenges. Everyone designs different stuff unless you have rules. So then you start getting into design systems, and it becomes really important to define what components look like and what shadow you use. But that's a whole different problem. So in our team, we feel we're greater than the sum of our parts. If any one of us was on our own, we wouldn't be able to do half of the stuff that we can do as part of a team. So this is a really old picture, but I've already told you about the team, so I'll just skip over that. It's great fun being international. So I've got a bit of a case study here. Has anyone been to Dubai? Dubai is an interesting place. A lot goes on in Dubai that doesn't happen definitely in the UK and probably is fairly unique. Hong Kong's also kind of very different in terms of how things work, but Dubai is pretty spectacular in that people don't have addresses quite a lot of the time. So how do you get a delivery if you don't know your own address? There are neighborhoods in Dubai that have the same name but are opposite ends of Dubai. The streets are named arbitrarily and randomly, it seems, and people aren't sure which street they live on. And what's also interesting is, as you will know, if you live in the Burj Khalifa or one of the high-rises in Dubai, there's actually you have to go through 2 sets of security to get up. So if you're holding a nice warm burger and you get to the Burj Khalifa and you find out that it's on the 40th floor, then it's going to be 20 minutes before you get to the front door. So very challenging. In fact, in Dubai, we have 4 people sitting in the Dubai office manually correcting our GPS pins because people put in an address and then their GPS is so far away from that address that we literally have to manually move it. And at the moment, we haven't worked out a better way than just humans doing that. So these are the problems that individual parts of Deliveroo have. And also, if you get stuck on this big orange road here, you're going around that for 20 minutes and you can't get off until you've kind of gone round half of it. So if you get on slightly the wrong road, then your order is going to be very late. The other thing that we try and do is, as a design team, kind of push our craft forward. So this is abstract. I don't know if you've heard of this. It's kind of like a Git workflow, but for design. This is going to get technical for a second, but if you put a sketch file in Git, does anyone know what Git is? I could just stop this. Okay, 2 people know what Git. 3. Okay, fine. Git is where engineers put their code, and you can look at each other's code, and it merges into each other nicely, and it can go line by line and work out, oh, this person's put in stuff there, and that person's put in stuff there, so we're just going to kind of squash it together. You can't do that with sketch files because they're binary files that it can't look into. So this tool helps you look into the files, and you can all upload copies of the same file, and then it will work out who's changed what, and you can comment on certain parts of it. If you're interested, check out Abstract. And the other one that we're kind of working hard on working out how to use as a team is Framer. Framer is a really interesting prototyping tool. It's built entirely on JavaScript or CoffeeScript. So literally anything you can do on the internet, you can do in this tool. But it's really hard to learn. So how do we ramp people up? These are kind of team level problems, but this was a real challenge. Did anyone know about us before we rebranded? Okay, a couple, fine. So this was our old brand. It had an actual kangaroo on it. We had one color. It was really inflexible. It didn't represent the foodie kind of qualities that we enjoyed and believed we should represent. So we rebranded. That involved, if you're kind of digital-only product, then that would involve a bunch of work for designers and engineers to kind of push out new code and new designs. When you have thousands and thousands of people wearing your brand all over the world, and you decide to do it all on one day, then the process took a year. It involved ordering hundreds of thousands of pieces of rider kit, giving them to all the riders, and then telling them which day to start wearing it. And they fundamentally do what they want, so that was a challenge. And we had to kind of lever in digital stuff as well. If you want to rebrand, know what you're getting into, because it's really hard. Okay, so time to do something together. So in the room, this is way too ambitious. We're going to give it a go. In the room, we're going to split into groups, and we're going to try and build or sketch the ecosystem that you might need to make Deliveroo work. On a very high level, obviously, because there is pizza at 1:30 and I want pizza. So we have 3 different types of people. I went out and took these photos myself to really try and capture the essence. So we have our user, our customer, our hungry person. We have a Deliveroo rider, and then we have a restaurateur. 3 different types of people. So, I was trying to work out how to do this earlier. I think we'll try and go for 8 teams. So, right down the middle. Yes, you don't split in half, please. That would put me off my pizza. Yeah, if you want to. So you guys are kind of on that team? Okay, sweet. And then every 2 rows is a team. Back. So you've got U10 and U10, and then 2 rows, 2 rows, 2 rows, 2 rows. You're not going to have to present anything to the whole group. This is so that you can meet new people, and also so that you can do my job for me. No, I'm joking. So designing for an ecosystem is very different to designing for one type of user, especially when different types of users need things from each other. So, Sophia, what's the Spanish pronunciation? Sophia, okay. Sophia needs to know when her food's going to arrive. She knows her address. She knows her order, what she ordered. But what she really needs is where her bloody rider is. Where is my rider? And when is my food on the way? It's been cooking for ages. And what time is my food going to arrive? So don't worry, there's going to be a cheat sheet later, so you don't have to worry too much about remembering this right now. Number 2, Felix. He is a Deliveroo rider. So what Felix wants is he wants the easiest possible life. He wants to do his jobs. He gets paid for every order, so he wants to do as many orders as possible. In order to do that, he needs to know where to go first, then where to go next. That's it. So what can he give us? He can give us his GPS coordinates from his phone. So that's kind of useful. And he can tell us manually that he's accepted the order when the order comes in, and that he's collected the food. They're the things that he can give us, give the system. But what does he need? He needs the restaurant address, he needs the customer address. And remember, addresses are a bit more complicated than just line 1, line 2, line 3. There might be door codes, there might be don't knock because the baby's sleeping. So there's that kind of stuff that he might need to know as well. And then finally, Lucas, my restaurant owner, he needs to make the food on time. And he doesn't just need to make that one bit of food on time, he needs to make 10 orders an hour or 30 orders an hour or 100 orders an hour on time. So what does he have? He has his address, obviously. He knows where he is. And he has his preparation time, which is how long it's going to take him to make each order. But what does he need? He needs to know where the rider is so that he can make the order on time, and he needs to know what to cook. They're the things that he needs. So, kind of goes like this. Sophia, thank you, tells the restaurant what she wants. The restaurant calls for the rider, say. The rider then goes to Sophia, and I'll get it right, and gives her the food. Hopefully that all works. So how do we make that happen? So, okay, here's where we split up and start chatting to each other. Within your little teams, you need to choose one of these types of users. And ideally, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but we have an even split. So, who wants to be Sophia? Does a team particularly want to take the customer problem? Okay, you guys. Anyone else? I need another. You two teams? Okay. I know I didn't give you any time to talk about this, so feel free to talk about it now. And also say hello to each other. Any more Sophias? You guys? Okay. We have 3 of those. 3 customers. Who wants to be a rider? Felix. Who wants to be Felix? Okay, so we have 2 teams here and 1 at the back. 3 Felixes. Who wants to be Hector? I can't remember what I called him. Who wants to be the restaurant? 1. You've got to be 1 team. You can't just, okay. 2 back there. You guys? You don't have a, yeah? You're a restaurant. Okay. Great, so here's what you have to do. Hopefully this will work. Imagine, obviously, this is going to sound obvious, imagine being that person, what they want, what they need, what their life's like, what the situation they are in right now is, and think about what could solve their problem. You can use drones, you can use human-computer brain interface type things, I'm not sure what that is. You can use flying bikes. You can use automatic tiny meal creator robots. They're not the only things you can use anything that you can imagine. It doesn't have to necessarily be realistic right now technology. In 2-3 years' time, we're going to be looking at a very different way of all of this happening. At Deliveroo, we're pretty confident in that. So don't hold back. Feel like you can use whatever is the appropriate thing to use that best solves the problem. Okay. So, I don't know. I suppose let's do it. Start talking. I'm going to stop talking, and you guys can start talking. I was about to tell you that. That's what I was getting my phone out for. You have about 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
If anyone has any questions or doesn't know what the hell they're doing, then I'm happy to help. I'm kind of halfway up the stairs at the moment, in case you're wondering where I am. Ah. Okay. Time is nearly up, guys. I assume you've all finished. One more minute of chat, and then we're going to do the next bit, which involves making even more friends. Okay. Stop. Design time is over. No more design should be done. No more conversations. You're all asking exactly the right questions. No need to, but you don't need to turn your chairs around because you might want to turn them around again in about 30 seconds. But you can do if you want. Yeah, let's turn some chairs around. Okay, so the next and final part. The next and final part before pizza involves not only making new friends, but involves moving chairs, moving seats. Oh, now I'm gonna have to pick up my bag. This is annoying. I've already made some friends. What does he want? Okay, so you may have guessed what happens next. You guys are one part of the system, but you need to find the other two parts and work out whether it's going to work. Oh. So here's what's going to happen is, can I see all the riders, Felix? Okay. Can I see all Sophia's? That was a fly, I'm not waving. Okay, three of those. And then restaurateurs, two at the back, one here. Is anyone not in any team? Okay, cool. So this should work nicely. I don't know how we've managed 9 teams, but can all rider teams, Felix's, stand up and then find your nearest restaurant? You have to ride to your restaurant, guys. Let's ride to our restaurants. Oh, good. Oh, you don't? Yeah, okay. And now, so you guys are in pairs, right? Sort of. So now, Sophia's, find your nearest rider restaurant pair. That was easy, wasn't it? You don't even have to get off your beanbag. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, yeah, you can sit down, but you will have to stand up again in a second. So these numbers are going to be approximate, but if 3 of the riders in each team move to sit with 3 customers, and 3 riders from each team move to sit with 3 restaurants, and the others do the same, basically you're mixing it up. And then you can all present to each other what you thought. This is where it gets really ambitious. It involves a lot of people moving around. Come on, pizza, nearly pizza. Let's do this. More friends. Yeah? Okay, go. So there should be There should be the same number of teams, but they're mixed teams. This is really impressive moving. In the UK, they're much worse at this. That's fine. Yeah, no, I really liked it. Okay, has everyone found new friends? Has anyone not got any friends now? That's excellent. Okay, so we got 10 minutes left. 10 minutes left. Have you managed to build Deliveroo? Is anyone missing a Sophia? There you go. Is that? They're riders and restaurants. I'd go. Two minutes left. 2 minutes left. And then we're shipping it. Okay, 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 okay. Okay, stay in your new teams just for a second. Just before we stop, you can't hear me. I don't have a volume. Okay. Hello. I don't know how to make this louder aside from eating it, so you're just gonna have to. Maybe I'll just shout. Time to stop. If you haven't already said hello to each other and given each other your names, then you should definitely do that before you disappear off and never see each other again. If someone has really struck you as a true lifelong friend, then please don't be shy. Make a friend. It's the best thing about workshops. Does anyone feel they made all the right decisions when they were in their own team? I can't tell if that's just people not listening. Or how did it go mixing it up? Did you get it right? Did your team get it right and then it all worked together? If so, you're hired. Thank you very much for indulging me in this. Doing a workshop at the end of a long morning requires effort, and you all did really well. I meant it when I said earlier, in the UK, people are much lazier, so very impressed. Hopefully you guys got something out of it, and making friends. I don't know why I keep going on about that. Maybe I don't have any friends. That's the bit we just did. I put my slides in the wrong order. So that's it from me. It's quite big, that text, isn't it? If anyone is interested in hanging out in London and working on these problems for their whole day, every day, then please do come and speak to me, or do the Twitters, or you can tweet Deliveroo Design or follow Deliveroo Design. We tweet, or just come and wander up to me. Yeah. We have a team in Madrid, but not a product team. It's something that we're thinking about, but not yet. So if you want to work for us, then it would be a move to London right now. Yeah, but if you move to London, are you set us up or not? Sorry? Oh, yeah. We have a nice welcome system. I don't want to make too many promises in front of... Don't tweet the things I say, please. But honestly, I'm hanging around for pizza. Please come and talk to me, because I have no friends. I think we've established. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, I don't know if there's meant to be questions. Is there meant to be questions? Does anyone have a question? Ah. Yeah, individual dishes. Yeah, taking pictures of every, having a picture of every restaurant is in itself quite a challenge. A lot of restaurants have kind of a bunch of this already. If they're, for example, the big chains will have this. The question was, are we planning on rolling out pictures of dishes as well as pictures of restaurants? We're experimenting with it. We need to work out, it's a return on investment question really, because it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of money to do. It's something we'd love to do. But we need to work out what the impact of that is versus doing something else, because there's always something else that you could do instead. So yeah, it'd be lovely to do that though, and we are looking at it. Yeah. Any more? Yeah. I'm afraid I don't know much about that situation. Okay. Quite honestly, I don't know. It's very far from the things that I do. But we want the best rider experience. So we want to offer an experience which makes people not want to strike. That's definitely something that I'm willing to say. I'm not entirely sure about the Spanish situation or kind of. We haven't yet. We're working on it. It's really hard, and it will take. If we're changing laws, then it's years, not days. So yeah, it's really hard. It's the first. This type of job is new for the world. So lots of people have to work out what's fair and what's right, and what gives riders and more broadly gig economy workers the best life and experience, while also meaning that it works for the companies that are offering them the work. It's really hard.
Bueno, pues un fuerte aplauso para Jonny, por favor. Alguno por ahí al fondo me preguntaba, y también preguntaba a Álvaro y a Fabio, que está por ahí. Bueno, rompemos filas. Si alguien tiene alguna duda ahora o de Ironhack o sobre Deliveroo, Cabify, Fiverr o en general sobre cualquier tema de los que hemos hablado hoy, nos podéis preguntar ahora en las pizzas, ¿vale? Están ahí puestas, así que nada. Mil gracias por venir y bueno, espero que hayáis disfrutado y eso. Seguidnos, por favor, en Meetup, porque hacemos todos los eventos, los ponemos en Meetup para que la gente esté al corriente de las cosas que hacemos, ¿vale? Que la gente muchas veces nos manda correos preguntándonos cuándo hacéis cosas, pues bueno, Meetup, ¿vale? Para saber qué cosas hacemos. Muchas gracias a todos, ¿eh? Sé que estáis muy ocupados con las pizzas, pero si hay alguien que ha perdido de vista un móvil, que me lo diga, ¿vale? Que hemos encontrado un móvil en las sillas, ¿vale? Si alguien ha perdido el móvil, que me lo diga.